In February 1959, 9 experienced hikers climbed into the mountains of Russia.
They were not beginners. They were not lost. They knew exactly what they were doing. But something happened on that mountain that night. Something so terrifying, so impossible, that Soviet authorities sealed the entire case for 30 years.
The hikers were found dead, but it was not how they died that shocked the world. It was the condition they were found in.
Torn from the inside, eyes missing, radiation on their clothes, and their tent cut open from the inside, as if they were running from something so terrifying they chose to face minus 30-degree temperatures with no shoes rather than stay inside. 65 years later, nobody knows what happened. This is the Dyatlov Pass incident. The group was led by Igor Dyatlov, a 23-year-old engineering student who was experienced, careful, and highly respected by everyone who knew him. The group included 7 men and 2 women. All of them were experienced hikers. All of them had done dangerous treks before. This was supposed to be a grade 3 trek, the highest difficulty level in Soviet hiking. They were prepared, they were excited. They had no idea they were walking towards something that would make the entire world question the laws of nature itself. The group set off on January 25th, 1959. For the first few days, everything was normal. They hiked through the snow, set up camps, took photographs, wrote in their diaries. Their diaries show happy people, joking, singing, excited about the adventure ahead. On February 1st, they began climbing the slope of a mountain called Holotsyakla. In the local Mansi language, this name means dead mountain. A storm hit. Visibility dropped to almost zero. The group lost their direction in the blizzard and accidentally started climbing the wrong slope. Instead of going back down to the safer forest below, Igor Dyatlov made a decision. They would camp on the open slope of the mountain for the night and continue in the morning. It was the last decision he would ever make. The group was supposed to send a telegram when they reached their destination. The telegram never came. Back home, families and friends waited. Days passed. No word. A rescue team was sent on February 20th, 19 days after the group had gone silent. What they found at the campsite on Dead Mountain would shock the entire Soviet Union. The tent was still standing, but it had been cut open from the inside, not torn by wind, not ripped by an animal, cut deliberately from the inside. Their shoes were still inside the tent. Their warm clothes were still inside. They had run out into minus 30-degree temperatures in their socks in the middle of the night. The rescue team followed footprints in the snow leading away from the tent. About 1 mile from the tent, at the edge of a forest, they found the first 2 bodies. It was Yuri Doroshenko and Yuri Krivonichenko. They were found next to the remains of a small fire. They had no shoes. They were barely dressed. The temperature that night had been minus 30 degrees. 3 more bodies were found soon after. Igor Dyatlov himself, Zinaida Kolmogorova, and Rustam Slobodin. They were found in positions suggesting they were trying to crawl back to the tent, as if they had changed their minds, as if they realized whatever was out there was worse than the cold. The last 4 bodies were not found until May, buried under 4 meters of snow in a ravine. And what the investigators found on these 4 bodies would turn this tragedy into one of the greatest mysteries in human history. The autopsies revealed things that made no sense. 3 of the last 4 hikers had massive internal injuries, broken ribs, fractured skulls. The kind of force required to cause these injuries would be equal to a car crash. But there was no external damage, no bruises on the skin, no cuts. As if the force had come from inside. One hiker, Ludmila Dubinina, was missing her tongue, her eyes, her lips, removed. The official report said animals may have taken them, but investigators noted the snow around her body showed no animal tracks. And then, the clothes of several hikers tested positive for radiation, high levels of radioactive contamination, on people who had been hiking in a remote mountain with no nuclear facility anywhere near. Soviet investigators declared the cause of death a compelling unknown force. And then they sealed the entire case, classified it, and told the families, "You will never know what happened to your children." Since then, the world has never stopped asking what happened on Dead Mountain that night. Theory 1, an avalanche. But investigators found no evidence of avalanche activity. The tent was still standing. Theory 2, military testing. The Soviet government was testing secret weapons in the area. The radiation and internal injuries could match certain experimental weapons, but Russia has never confirmed this. Theory 3, infrasound. Certain wind conditions in mountains can create infrasound, sound below human hearing, that causes extreme panic, hallucinations, and the feeling that something terrifying is nearby. This could explain why 9 experienced hikers ran from their tent in minus 30 degrees in complete panic. Theory 4, the Mansi people. Local indigenous people considered Dead Mountain sacred. Some believed the group had disturbed something they should not have. Theory 5, and perhaps the most disturbing, something was on that mountain. Something that has never been identified. Theory 5, and perhaps the most disturbing, something was on that mountain. Something that has never been identified. Something that made 9 experienced, rational, brave human beings so terrified, they chose to freeze to death rather than face it. In 2019, 60 years after the incident, Russia officially reopened the Dyatlov Pass case. After a year-long investigation, they announced their conclusion. The families rejected it. The researchers rejected it. The evidence rejected it. The case was closed again. The mountain still stands. The pass has been named after Igor Dyatlov, the young man who led his friends into the unknown. Every year, hikers still climb it. Some say on certain nights, when the wind hits the mountain just right, you can hear sounds that make no sense, as if the mountain itself is still keeping its secret. 9 people went up. 9 people never came back. And after 65 years, the world still does not know why. Some mysteries were never meant to be solved. 9 people went up. 9 people never came back. And after 65 years, the world still does not know why. Some mysteries were never meant to be solved. If this blew your mind, subscribe right now, because next week we are going somewhere even more terrifying. You will not sleep after watching it. Subscribe to Dark Chronicles and never miss a mystery again. Some mysteries were never meant to be solved.